Hey guys, Andrew McCombe here from Outlier TV. In this week's episode, we're in the metropolis of Jakarta, Indonesia, where we're going to do things a little differently this week. We're actually going to interview myself, and we're going to find out about the inspiration and the background behind Outlier TV. Come on, let's go and see how it all started.
Andrew McCombe. We're at Pondok Indah Golf Club in Jakarta, Indonesia. What the heck are you doing here?
Well, mate, I've just finished filming 14 episodes of the initial series of Outlier TV.
Fantastic. How has that gone for you? And where have you been? What have you been doing?
Good question, mate. Absolutely inspiring. Got to hang out with some inspiring entrepreneurs, socialpreneurs,
yeah,
and innerpreneurs is probably a good way to put it. Mate, there's some fantastic people out there doing fantastic things, and ultimately what Outlier and what I've been doing is going around 7 countries in the last 6 weeks to try and share their stories to other potential outliers and entrepreneurs to inspire them to do similar with their own lives.
Mate, I mean, you're going to inspire people, if nothing else. You've got the Outlier all over, you're branded so well, you look like a NASCAR, mate.
Well, that's good. That's the plan, right? I want people to know what Outlier is, what it stands for. It's got a big message behind it.
Yeah.
And ultimately it is about inspiring others to be an outlier, you know, be themselves, be successful being themselves, and don't question being themselves, just commit to themselves.
Great. So Andrew, how did that all come about? Where's the beginning of this story? I mean, here we are right now, Jakarta, Indonesia. Where did it all start?
Well, mate, a small town, Dunedin in New Zealand, at the bottom of the South Island, or close to. I guess first thing is I've always been into sport, so ever since I can ever remember, I always wanted to be a professional athlete growing up. There's not a lot of opportunity in Dunedin, I guess. As an athlete, you don't know that at the time. You're just growing up, you train hard, you work hard. You see external resources or references like overseas. You might see the American TV, or Australia. New Zealand used to play Australia at cricket and that. And I just always, I don't know how, but I just knew in order to get where I wanted to go, I had to work hard and do different things to most people. So initially it was sport. I played cricket, was my big sport. I was going to play for New Zealand. Cut a long story short, I changed that. They made a school rule at my school that said you have to choose cricket over volleyball, and I also played volleyball at the time. I was in the first 6 for volleyball at a young age at high school, and I was in the first 11. Mate, it's probably my first outlier incident, mate. They told me I had to choose cricket over volleyball, and it was at one weekend we had a semi-final for volleyball in Christchurch, which is a town 4 hours north of Dunedin, and we had a semi-final for a national cricket tournament in Dunedin. So it was a clash.
Right.
And they told me I must choose cricket over the volleyball. And one thing I've learned, or people have probably learnt, it's probably a better way of putting it, is don't tell me what to do. So just the mere fact they told me what to do, I went the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So I chose the volleyball over the cricket. And it was interesting. That was really a life-defining moment for me, because I stopped playing cricket soon after, which was, in hindsight, was stupid. But it was what it was, right?
More money in cricket than there is in volleyball, mate?
Well, at the time it was a career. I was going to play for New Zealand,
right.
And well, that was, who knows if I would have. I played in the state teams and everything else, but my goal was to play in England and play county cricket and play for New Zealand, etc. But it's funny how life changes, right? So I ended up playing volleyball, but when I look back at that, I then tried to train for the Olympics, at 2000 Olympics. I used to go to Australia at the end of the year at university for the 4 years, and then I think we had about 3 years to train for the Sydney 2000 Olympics. Mate, that was a life-changing moment. That put me to live in Australia. So I moved from Dunedin to Australia, lived in Manly, beautiful Manly Beach, and I had to fund myself. So I had a PE degree. I got my PE degree, or physical education.
Yeah.
I had to fund myself. If you're an All Black, they fund you. If you're a netball, nowadays they might give you some money. If you're a yachtsman at the time, they might have. But every other sport was on their own.
Yeah.
So I had to fund myself. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I was passionate about health and fitness. So I set up a personal training studio in Manly. and eventually set up 3 health clubs. But what I found was another defining moment is I loved business more than I did training at sport, day in, day out, doing the same thing over and over. So I actually stood down from volleyball for a while from New Zealand, and you had to do that anyway to play for Australia. I ended up deciding I wanted to play for Australia. There was better options and more choice and more people where I was playing and stuff. And it made me realise, having that downtime, I thought, you know what, I just love playing volleyball. I love training for it. Yes, I'll go away and compete for it. I don't think I was good enough to do it day in, day out. I'd have my highs and my lows. I've bet some pretty good players in the world and stuff, but on my bad days, I just wasn't into it. It's kind of the Nick Kyrgios of volley, I guess, is my way of looking at it.
Tell me, Mum and Dad, how do they play a part in this? I mean, do they have sporting backgrounds? Your brothers, you have sisters? I mean, what's your family background?
Family background, mate, is mother and father. Father was an accountant, had his own practice, and my mother had her own office products shop, so they were always entrepreneurs and businessmen in their own right, or businesswoman. Okay. But very much 9 to 5, it was kind of like they just had a job, but it was a business, and that's no disrespect to my parents at all, because I highly respect them, but it was like they'd bought themselves a job, they had staff and everything else, but it wasn't a case of leveraging up and making them massive businesses or anything.
Do you think that was just the way it was back in the day, though? I mean, that's a lot of businesses, especially in a small town.
Business. Small business, small town, I don't think
they want a bit of lifestyle as well. Got kids to rear as well,
kids.
Right?
My brother was physically, mentally handicapped, so he needed 24-hour care, which my mum did. She was an absolute legend looking after my brother. Another inspiration for me too, mate, was my brother. He couldn't do anything. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything. Wow. And yet, out of that, profound inspiration for me, And growing up with a brother like that, it was embarrassing because I didn't know how to deal with that. Yeah. But when he passed away when I was 21. On the day I moved to Australia, his funeral. Right?
Oh, wow.
So I'd pre-planned my trip to Australia. He died a week prior when I was in Auckland at a tournament.
Did you know that was going to be the case? Or was you,
No, suddenly. So I was uncontactable for probably 3 or 4 days. I got to this tournament on the beach. I can remember it now, mate. I get to the beach, and it was funny. The night before, I'd had all these dreams about all my relatives and stuff, and I woke up going, that was weird. Why did I have all these dreams about relatives? And then going to we were with a bunch of friends. We were an hour up the coast from the tournament, and we took this boat to the tournament, which is kind of novel. And on the way to the tournament, all these dolphins were with the boat too. Anyway, I get to the shore. It's the most sickening feeling ever. I got to the shore. The tournament director comes down and goes, Andrew, you need to call your father. I said, why? She wouldn't tell me. She said, you've just got to call your father. And I went, oh shit. Yeah. What's happened? Yeah. I didn't know what happened, but my heart sunk. Yes. Anyway, he told me your brother's died, and mate, that was a turning point in my life, I think, mate. I was just shattered. 6 months, I moved, because I'd pre-planned my flight was on the 22nd of January 1997. His funeral, I think it was a day before. So I found out a week earlier, managed to get back to Dunedin, went to the funeral. I flew in the night before the funeral, went to the funeral, next day flew out and I was gone to Australia, which is, in hindsight, not a great thing because I had no family support over there. I had a good mate with me at the time who was my partner, and mate, it was just grief, 6 months of total grief. Wow. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I was there to train and play. I had no motivation for it, mate. And eventually, mate, I used my degree in physical education. I thought, well, I can't keep doing this, so I set up a personal training studio in Manly. Yeah. And that was hard, man. It was really hard. It was early days. Like nowadays, people go to the gym and I had to literally pull them to the gym. Now with Instagram and everything, everyone just wants to go to the gym just to look good. Yeah. I couldn't get them to the gym. So it was a battle for the first few years, Is
that because you just didn't know what to do to get them there?
Well, when you look at it like that, it was a massive learning curve. Yeah. Which I thrived in. I loved the training component too, but I just love the creativity of working out how to get them there. So I soon realised I wasn't really a trainer as such. Yeah. I guess my vehicle was training, but I love the business stuff behind it and working out, the marketing, the sales, But you had a PE degree, so you didn't have a business degree. So how did you learn to develop business? Because
you know, I've got to know you over the years, and you're very good at business, and you're very good at hustling and you know, generating products and content and so on. So how did it get to that place?
Mate, to be honest, when I was 10, I tried to start a car wash.
Okay.
Well, me and my mate, this is really interesting. My parents had about 3 or 4 cars, right? And we'd put them out in the driveway, and I had a mate, and I'm always the one to coerce people into doing things. Mm-hmm. So they'd just come along for the ride, and I'm like, right, what we're going to do, we're going to wash these cars, both you and I. You'll wash, I'll do the soap, and we're going to time it. And so I'd wash the car, and we'd time it, cool, and we'd do the other 3 cars. Sweet, it was about an hour, so it worked out on average, every 15 minutes we could do a car if it was the 2 of us.
Yep.
Right, so I did the numbers. I went, well, if I can do 4 cars an hour, at the time it was going to be $10, that's $40. And at 10, mate, that's unheard of.
So you had really good math skills.
I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, so that was that night. So I rang, my dad's cousin owned a garage on the other end of Dunedin, which in reality is not a long way now, probably a 10-minute drive, but as a kid I had to go from after school at 3 o'clock to get there, and on the first day of getting there, it was Monday morning and Monday afternoon, and I knew, even gut feeling then, I knew, geez, Mondays aren't going to be busy. You know, people aren't looking to get their car washed on a Monday. But the week prior I'd spoken to, or my mum had spoken to my dad's cousin, and he said, yeah, go for it, come and do your car wash, right? And my mum rang on the Monday. She said, Andrew, I don't know if this is a good idea. She rang him again and said, look, I don't think he's going to do it. And you know, in hindsight, it's probably not a bad thing, but that was sort of my first foray into starting a business. I never actually got to do it, but that was it. And then we used to go out in the forest and bag up pine cones and then unbelievably sell them for $20. Right. Way back then.
Wow.
Now you'd get them for $5.
Yeah.
But we'd sell, the funny thing was though, we'd sell them to our friends who we went out in the forest with, their parents, and then their kids would sell it to our parents. So it was kind of like,
right, keeping it in the family,
money, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, that was way back in time. But the business side, mate, I had the health clubs, and I started with one, and I always just kept wanting to grow. And we first 2 years, mate, it was hard. I was in a standalone personal training studio. It was tough. I had my partner, my beach volleyball partner, was also my partner in the business, and you know, he had different values. He just wanted it as a hobby. I wanted to do it as a business, and I just said, look, mate, I can't really do this. It was nothing against him. It's just I do things 100% or nothing.
Yep.
And I wanted to do it 100. And so I brought him back out, and I ended up, it was fascinating. I was training with a client at the bottom of the hotel in Manly. You've seen the Manly Pacific Hotel.
Yeah.
And I looked up. I wonder if they got a gym in there. And he goes, mate, why don't you go in there, see if they've got one, and if they have, maybe offer to put your equipment in there, and in return for rent-free space, and see how you go. So I thought, oh, that's awesome. I'll go and have a look. I went up. They had the dodgiest old equipment. It was perfect. And I went and said, I've got brand new equipment from down the road we'd bought. And I said, what we'll do, this is where win-wins come in, you know. It's really important as a business person to be about win-win. I said, look, I'll put all this new equipment in. You give it to me rent-free. I will have a certain period of time each day that my clients can use it with preference. Your hotel guests can come in and use it, but if I'm training clients on equipment, we've got right of way, essentially.
Right.
But any other time, they can use it at their own accord. General manager, fantastic bloke, Michael Johnson, he's still in the hotel game now, just a brilliant operator. He was all for it. Great idea. Now, what was powerful for me there, and that's something I'd tell any entrepreneur, I had hardly anything, right? I had equipment, but it had value. And he valued it because he had no equipment or dodgy old equipment. But I valued his space, because what the space gave me was instant access. He also gave me the massage contract, which was phenomenal. Yep. And it was coming into the Olympic period, so everyone was splashing money everywhere on massages, and we picked up all their corporate team building, which I was the first. I remember that we did one event and I made $1,100 for 1 hour's work. And I was training, right, and I was $60 an hour for a one-on-one session at the time, which is not leverageable, but I hit this $1,100 for an hour, and I went, shit, there's something in this. There was a scale up, right? 1 hour, 1,100, or how many hours would it take me? Almost 20 hours to hit. That would be $1,200 at $60, right?
Yeah.
So it changed my way of thinking. And then I thought, well, what if I had more than one place? And the beautiful thing with a relationship with hotels was it was a feeding ground for massage, team building, location and a win-win rent-free. But the other kicker for me is they had a swimming pool, they had change rooms, they had a sauna, they had a spa, and they had a huge outdoor area, which I didn't have in my little dodgy little studio in the back of a phone shop.
Yes.
So it was an incredible win, and it was on the beachfront of Manly, so we would take the clients down and out on the beach and everywhere else as well. And we had the best view of Manly, looking out over the ocean when we'd stretch and everything else from our outdoor area.
Wow.
So just I went from that, and then I went, well, how many more of these can I have? So just before the Olympics in '99, got another gig in the city. Brand new hotel, just finished. Took over the contract for them. Brought over a guy from New Zealand, David Norman, brilliant bloke. He ended up managing it for me, and a few others. And so I'd sort of work out of Manly, and I'd go in after that 9 to sort of 10 o'clock period. I'd go into the city. He'd look after it most of the day. Then we got another one at the Grace Hotel in another part of the city. Beautiful, beautiful place up on the penthouse of the roof of the hotel. Same gig. We had conferences. We had massage, and we had personal training, and those two we could sell memberships. I didn't sell membership at my first one, it was too small. The odd person I did, but the city ones we had hundreds of members as well, so it was like bread and butter.
Right, so you got cash coming out front.
Cash coming in, plus your premium one-on-one products.
Yeah.
But what I found, Laurie, was the more staff I had, the more clients I had, the more places I had, the less time I had for myself, the less money I was making for myself, and I just went, this is too hard. And it was really interesting at the time. I had two of the best staff I've ever had, and they were great mates as well, was Steve Proctor and Dan Maitland. Brilliant blokes, like brothers, And they would run one of the health clubs. We shut one of them down because the general manager was an arsehole. I'm going to say that out in public. He was an absolute wanker, and he just wanted us out, so he was just being a prick about it. And we ended up, so we got out of that and had the other one. The boys ran that for me. They were fantastic. And then between the three of us, we were just trying to work a way of scaling up. Dan was saying at one point we'd have 60 health clubs in the next 3 years, and they're doing that nowadays, but at the time it was just...
Some are, most don't, right?
Well, mate, I don't know how they make money, to be honest. It's just a lot of overhead and...
they try to get that money up front, right? So come January, New Year...
Well, a lot of clubs hope they get the money up front, and they actually hope the members don't turn up, which is, to me, is crazy, because how do you get repeat business? And there's a big chain in Australia who has a 5% retention rate based on that model.
Wow.
Right? It's
you
ridiculous.
have to have a lot of people coming in there to make it
but
work.
Then you've got to keep finding them, right? It's like, what do they say, if you look after someone, they tell 10 people. No, they might tell 3 people, but if you have a bad experience, they'll tell 10 people.
Yeah.
So... that's the same sort of thing in that regard. I find it's easier to look after people, and they'll tell others, and they do the marketing for you.
It's interesting, just to this part of it. It was a great story, wasn't it? It was building up. Like, it's fantastic. It sounds great. We're expanding. The clients are coming in, the money's coming in, and then you go, but hang on a sec. Here's the reality. The reality is, I've got X amount of employees to look after. I've got to look after them, and then you stop looking after yourself.
Yeah, well, mate, good point. They had free food in the cafeterias too down the hotel, so that didn't help. Because I'm now in the office downstairs doing systems and strategic stuff and that, and I lost contact with the clients, which I really love. I love helping people. I love that interaction and that connection, and I believe I can make a massive difference. But I'd lost that. We're through the boys, and the boys were brilliant. And another trainer we had, Sue, she was great. But yeah, I lost that, mate, and I think for a period of time I was trying to be this business guy on a leverage scale, but it wasn't leveraging or growing. It would have been better just to stay me actually being training with the other lads and making a lot more money and having a lot less staff and worries and stuff, and just doing a great job. But I also know that doesn't fit my personality. I don't like feeling trapped. It made me feel trapped. So anyway, cut a long story short, mate, I had stopped playing volleyball at the time, but in order to play for Australia I had to step down for 2 years, and I wanted to play volley again. I did a meditation retreat, and I just kept feeling this volleyball. So I was just tuning in. I want to play volley again. So I started playing volley, and there's a really sad part too, mate. I went away, played in Europe on the world tour, and came back. And at that time of being away, I knew I was done with the health clubs. And I came back and I told the lads. No, I told them just before I left. I said, mate, we're going to close this down. I offered it to them. You guys can take it if you want. And it was devastating, because they're like my brothers. We'd had this big plan, but all of a sudden I'd changed direction because in the meditation, I'd got this clarity on what I'd rather be doing. And it was, well, I haven't seen the boys a lot since then. You know, I still
Okay.
highly rate them and that, and I keep an eye on them on Insta and on Facebook and that, and, you know, I keep an eye out for the lads, but it was like a heart's been taken away, you know. So I've also been hesitant since to have a lot of staff since, because we had such a great thing, and I don't want to let people down in that regard, and I also, you know, I know they were pretty hurt by it. But the interesting thing was, going away and playing volleyball, I just met a new girl at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She's became a wife 6 months after coming back from volleyball. She came with me, and she's in one of the Outlier series. Jacinta McCombe, Nectar Cold Press, absolute unbelievable person. You've met Jacinta, she's a gun, right?
She sure is.
So, you know, you looking back in history, and you look at ebbs and flows and weaves and decisions and that, and I look at every single one of them. They've taken me to a new spot. They've introduced me to certain people, and they're leveraging me up to a whole new level of game.
Just how does sport, you know, being good at sport, being focused on sport as a young person, and then actually moving, you know, and going to university, doing a PE degree, which is kind of associated with that, you know, leisure side of things, sport, leisure, etc. How has that sporting background helped you in terms of, say, things like motivation, determination, grit, and so on, to keep pushing forward when things get tough?
Well, good question, mate. I think the key, like, I've always loved sport. Doesn't matter what it is. Every business I've ever had's been sport related. Outlier's a bit different, but it's inspiration and passion related as well, and I love giving back to people. So first thing for me is passion. So I've always been passionate, so it wasn't a hard thing to do from a sport perspective. Then I'm all about performance. So I'd always ask myself, how can I be better within myself to compete at a high level? It's not something it's probably quite innate. It wasn't something I learned. It was just always there. Like, I remember, you know, I used to go to the gym at 14, and my mates wouldn't go, and I'm like, come on boys, let's go to the gym. They weren't into it, none of them. And I remember one of my mates at school, one day I was running back from the gym. I would have been about 16, and he saw me and he goes, mate, I saw you running home today. And he goes, mate, if you can do it, I can do it. And he was a big prop for our first 15. And I thought, mate, that's awesome. He's seen me out there doing it, and he got into his own fitness and running.
So you got a bit inspired by it.
And I'm just being me, mate. I'm just doing it. It disappoints me a little bit when guys don't. Like, I remember when I first started playing golf, and I was trying to get all my mates to come, and they wouldn't come. And I got family and got kids and that, and so did I. But mate, I just wanted to go, and they didn't, and I just feel a bit like bit bummed, because I want them to be feeling what I'm feeling.
Sure.
But yeah, so sport, mate, so performance to me is always, you pick a goal, you pick a vision, you go, well, what's it going to take to get there? You assess it or you measure it along the way. You have tournaments to test yourself against others.
Yep.
But, you know, I just think, if I'm really honest, it was just, I loved it.
Yeah.
And so the same with business. I love business. Do I love business, or do I love creating? I'd say I love creating more than business.
I was going to say, yeah. What's the favourite part for you? It's the content development. That
Love
stuff.
it, mate. And it's always with a purpose. It's content with a purpose. It's all about inspiration. It's sharing a message. It's trying to. I believe people, or humans, have infinite potential. I believe I have, and people think I'm arrogant, but I don't. I just believe I do. And if I want to do anything, I can.
Yeah.
But I don't say that in an arrogant way. I say that in a total belief way.
Yeah, you say in a confident way.
Yeah.
You have a lot of confidence in yourself.
Yeah, self-belief. But I know, like for example, I was skiing the other day for the last time in 25 years. And I'm hopeless, right? But I know I can get good soon.
Yep.
And you'd have a process, right? I just know I'll get a great teacher, and I have got a great teacher, or a couple of them over there, my friends in Japan.
Yep.
We'll follow a process, we'll do it regularly,
Yep.
we'll work our way through the levels, and I'll get there. It's not a hard process.
It's a formula.
It's a no-brainer.
Yep.
As long as I stick at it, it will happen.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm trying to say with, you know, Outlier and all the business that I've had, mate, is inspire others to do the same. But not everyone does that, you know, or appears to do that. They have a lot of things get in the way.
So nowadays, you know, you're still pretty much a one-man show, and you just recruit a whole lot of people, which we can do in this space now. The internet's amazing. You know, when you first started out, it wasn't like that. You've got to go and spend money to get flyers and what have you, and you know, there's a lot more grunt work that you can now, you know, outsource to a whole lot of people, and at a pretty reasonable. I mean, you've got a team pretty much around the world doing what you're doing. So let's just talk about where Outlier is going to move to. What's your vision of that?
Well, it's a good point. So there's two sides to that. So one is the the outsource side. I've got a team, but they're not here with me all the time. I don't like being around people all the time.
Yeah.
I'd rather do a video and have 100,000 people see it than me have the same conversation 100,000 times.
Sure.
Major leverage in video.
Yes.
But just going back a bit, but again, we've got cameramen, we've got editors, but they're editors working at the moment as I'm talking here. Cameraman's behind the camera.
Yep.
But I don't need a big team like they have in a production team in the past. So, mate, they have 18 to 20 guys on a production that I can do with a couple of people, and I just think it's ridiculous. It's wastage. It's gross wastage, and others will disagree, but I totally disagree with you. I know how to do it, and it's just giving jobs for the sake, and it's charging people way too much money to do things that shouldn't cost that much.
Yeah, well, they price themselves now out. It's a new market now, right? I mean, a lot of people are just getting their phone out and there's so much content online, right, on YouTube and all the different social media platforms.
Super highly produced.
No. People don't really know, and the younger generation don't care
at all. It's not about that anyway. It's about the message. It's about the passion they're feeling, and they'll hit it and they'll connect with it and engage with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so going back to the health clubs, just to come back to your question, and around the year 2000, I could see the internet was coming, and I went to an internet marketing workshop that talked about turning your service into a product and then selling it online. And I was a personal training studio and health clubs in a physical place, and I couldn't get my head around how that works. How do you turn a physical thing where people come and see me into a product that I then sell? Anyway, I went to this internet marketing seminar. They were talking about this, and I finally got it. It was a real paradigm shift, right? As it is for a lot of people in the internet world. Not so much these days, but at the time. That set me off on a whole new journey. I spent $100,000 on a website, which I could have got for free now. And thank you, Vivid, for ripping me off. But at the same time, you taught me a big lesson in learning.
Are they still in business?
I don't know, but if they are, you've got to look at yourselves. Anyway, I can get it for free now.
I can relate to it.
But now what I have now is it took me. So you have this website, it costs $100,000, and you're going, so what? It's in the ether as a brochure. Well, it doesn't mean anything. No one's finding it.
Right.
It's like chucking a brochure down on the green here and hoping someone finds it.
Sure.
So the powerful thing for me, though, was learning how to market that website, to get traffic to it, to take an action that I wanted them to do, which is I'd created a health and wellbeing program that they could do by themselves. I wrote a book called Activate Your Life, which is about experiencing ease in your health, wealth, relationships, business and or career. And there's a whole message behind that.
Right.
E's being energetic, A being analytical, S being spiritual, and E being emotional. Self, so all pillars of our self are in alignment. When they're all in alignment, things flow. Okay? So I had this whole message. I turned it into a book, into a website, and I was a speaker. So I'd go and speak and sell the books at the back of the room. They could do the online program, and then I'd do coaching on top of it. So I turned into a coach as well. And then I turned that into teaching others how to do the same thing with Activate Your Business. How to start, grow, and automate your business.
Right.
But what I found with that is I was helping these people, and they're mainly corporates, because I had some great corporate relationships where I was part of work-life balance programs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would coach companies, staff, on how to increase their work-life balance. But the funny thing was, they'd all come to me because they were dissatisfied with the company they were at, and they were looking for an out. Right?
Yeah.
So I get engaged by these companies. They pay good money for me to go and run programs, and then these people leave because of what I'm trying to get them in alignment with themselves, and they leave and decide it's not for me. Then they blame me.
You're too good at your job.
They blame me, right? I'm like, you serious? So anyway, that was one side, but the other side was a lot of them I'd teach how to do it, and then it'd be like being at the edge of a cliff, right? I'm at the edge of the cliff with these guys, and I'm saying, righto guys, I know how to get here, and we're going to jump off this cliff. Jump with me. I'd jump, they'd stay. I looked around, go, oh, shit, they haven't jumped. I'd be in the water at the bottom going, jump, it's going to be fine. And they were terrified. Didn't want to leave a nice, cushy income, even though they hated it. Yeah. They were living, that's the mainstream, mate, the outlier, you know, the mainland versus the island.
Had that experience myself, yeah.
So you try and get them to jump, they just have, I don't know why they don't. But
it's the security thing, isn't it? They just...
Security. So anyway, mate, back to the question. So I, throughout that process, learnt all of this stuff. That then comes back to what I know now about, gives me the tools and leverage to be able to do what I do with TV. And I'll come back to TV in a sec too, because I had a TV show before this one. Around, that gives me the power to be non-location dependent, create anything anywhere I want in the world, be seen by thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, by creating it once, and it's leverageable many, many times over. And that's something else I try to teach people, right? And so going back to the business side, I was like, this is too slow. I'm frustrated. You know, these guys aren't jumping off the cliff. So I thought, I'd at that point just stopped playing beach volleyball.
Okay.
And I wanted to find a sport I could play by myself. So I was relying only on myself. Because with beach volley, you had to have 4 people. And often they wouldn't turn up, or they just wouldn't be going as hard, or wouldn't want to train hard. And anyway, my whole thing is always high performance, right? I just go hard at whatever I choose to. And if I'm not choosing to do it, I couldn't give a rat's.
Yeah.
So I'm all or nothing.
Yep.
Anyway, so I just went, it's time to give this up. But I wanted a sport that I could play by myself, but I still played with other people.
Yeah.
And me and my beach volleyball mates on a Saturday would go and play after beach volley up at a local club for 6 months or so. And these are some of the ones I said earlier, I was trying to entice them to come more often. And they'd come and we'd have a few beers after the game, and I'd just be sitting on the balcony of my club now, looking out at the national park, having a beer, just going, how good is this sport? And it took me 6 months to realise that golf was the sport I was looking for.
Yeah.
But it set me off on another journey of total passion. Like, I don't think I've ever been more passionate about anything other than family. And I went, how can I get paid to do this? So I looked at my options. I went, well, I don't want to work in a pro shop. I don't want to be a pro because I'm not going to be good enough, and I'm too old, and I'm going to have to hit thousands of balls, and I don't want to. So I thought, well, what do I want to do? And I thought, what about travelling the world playing golf and sharing it with others?
Just say that again, what you just said. I mean, so you're in golf and you go, I want to make some money out of this.
How can I get paid to play golf?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Like, I wanted to be paid like a professional athlete, but not do it like a professional athlete.
You know, I've been involved in that business for a long, long time, and you hardly ever come across someone, someone wants to buy an existing business as a business, but to start something from scratch, this has got to be an interesting story, I'm sure.
Well, so I'm sitting there, and I just remember reading the magazines, and all I wanted to do, I kept wanting to play these different courses. I just had this burning desire to play all these amazing courses, and it just felt like an adventure. It's probably the best way to put it. And I just thought, what can I do? So I looked at myself. I always look at myself and see how I operate. And I thought, what's my preferred mode of delivery? Well, to me, it's TV, it's video. And I thought, well, if I had all the time and all the money in the world, what would I do? I'd travel the world playing golf and share it with other passionate golfing tourists.
Yeah.
So I thought, I came up with the concept of Golf Getaway. There's a TV show called Getaway on TV, and it's a travel show.
Right.
I thought, what if we did that for golf? So I started then. It takes me a bit of time to get my head around how it's going to work. So I came up with, well, if we went around a golf course, you got the first hole, you got the 18th, so there's the start of the story. The 18th's the end of the story. In between's the other hole, so we'll show the signature hole at every course, the hardest hole, and a few holes in between. We'll interview people, because my preferred mode is to ask, so I like asking questions of people. I don't like to just get up and present. So I wanted to always have a guest, and originally I started with a good mate of mine, Sean Fay. We started the first, I think, 20 odd eps together, and had a great relationship. We'd go and play the course, and it was just me and him, and then we'd have the odd segment where we'd interview people. And because it was me and him, it wasn't going to work long term. People were sick of the same story. So what I changed it to was me with the general manager, or with a pro, or with a celebrity, and pulling out their stories along the way. We'd have some golf tips and that in between, and we'd have a review at the end, like every golfer does, have a beer at the end of the game and talk about the game and stuff. And that just went nuts. You know, we had all around New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, Thailand. I met you through in Perth. We did. That then evolved to Golf University, which is my passion for education. So I then, halfway through Golf Getaway, created Golf University, which is all online programs and golf schools and stuff. That's how we met. I called you, and we connected instantly.
We actually met earlier than that, briefly, didn't we?
We would have.
Many years before.
Well, a really interesting story. When I first moved to Australia, I had a girlfriend who was a professional golfer.
Right.
Famous professional golfer in Australia. And this is trippy. We went to a clairvoyant, and the clairvoyant said, one day you'll have a golf show. And she had a golf show at the time.
She did. I was on that golf show at times,
And I said, what? I play beach volleyball. And so as a clairvoyant, I'm going, this lady is nuts, right? Absolute nutter. 15 years later or whatever, I've got a golf show. Not that it had anything to do with that. I didn't even think about that.
You weren't even playing golf.
It wasn't until later I went back and went, geez, I didn't even play golf at the time. Anyway, so that's probably how we met. I met you originally because I know Nicole loved yourself as a coach. You're a different kind of coach, so she loved that. Anyway, we ended up connecting, and that's the Golf University was part of that. You're obviously a head coach of Golf University, which is our connection. And so then it evolved from golf to Golf University. We filmed the Search for Scratch documentary together where we had 6 people over 3 months, see how good they could be.
We did. Created
the 19th hole channel. We've got great YouTube channels. But, you know, that's sort of the next phase. I did so much. Probably that was a 10-year period for me. 5 years of it was amazing. The other 5 years was like slamming my head against a brick wall. And that was like dealing with the people in the industry, not golfers, the people in the industry.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Mate, how long have you got? Seriously.
I know when I asked the question,
mate,
I saw the changes, yeah. And we've had conversations
Seriously,
about it.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it, but I've never met such an archaic mindset of people in my life. And that essentially is what Outlier is the opposite.
You're so big into personal development, Andrew, and helping people to get to where they want to get to. So Outlier is a perfect extension of the way you think about the world. Having been close to you and worked, with you and seeing you work with some of the clients. So let's carry on, mate. Where's it go to?
So, well, Outlier evolved. So I had 5 years of serious frustration. I thought I was going mad. All right, did so much introspection. Why am I attracting this shit? Because I believe our external reality is a reflection of our internal.
Right. Yeah.
So anything that happens outside of me in my physical body or physical environment is starting inside of me.
It's a mirror, right?
It's just a mirror.
Yeah.
So I just tune into myself and go, where is it in me that I'm attracting this? And I just had so much passion for golf. I'm like, well, it can't be me because I'm so passionate. What is going on here? But I think I've since realised that there's the me level, at the passion level and the vision level and everything, but I also think there's a soul level it's got a bigger purpose for me.
Yeah.
So I really just looked into it and I went, well, when I started Golf Getaway, it was about inspiring people, places and passions and sharing it with other passionate golfing tourists, right? And I went, well, what's wrong with where it is now? There's no inspiring people. So I went, I want to deal with inspiring people again.
Right.
So Outlier is inspiring entrepreneurs, innerpreneurs, socialpreneurs, dreamers, innovators, creators, business people who are living outside the comfort zone. And with the series I've created so far, mate, I haven't felt more pumped again because I get to hang out with people that are like me.
Yeah.
We have normal conversations.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a situation in golf recently where a general manager, I went and did some filming for them, and he said to me, why did you film that hole that we cut a tree down 3 months later? And at the time, no one was there to tell me don't film that fairway. And I went, I felt like shooting myself. I thought, am I fucking crazy?
Yeah.
So that was my reference. That was my last straw, right?
Sure.
I went, you are fucking crazy. So I went, I can't deal with these people anymore. I want to reconnect to myself and others like me. And hence Outlier is that. And mate, for the last 7 countries I've been in 6 weeks, I just feel alive again. I'm back with the people. Yeah. I feel like I've found my crew again, you know?
Yeah, right. So where's it going to get to from here? That's really interesting because you talk about a crew or a team. Mate, so what's the vision of it look like?
Oh, it's multiple, mate. It's a TV show.
Right.
Just purely to share inspiration.
What we're doing now.
Exactly what we're doing.
Okay. As a starting
and I want to
point.
help other potentials, right? Other entrepreneurs or outliers. So people who might feel lost, feel like they don't belong, feel like they don't fit in a system that doesn't work for them. Yeah. And there's a lot of those people.
Many.
A lot of them check out, mate. They commit suicide, right? They go, this place doesn't work for me, I'm out. That saddens me to the core.
Yes.
Knowing it's not the system.
Yeah.
You guys can be yourself and be successful by being yourself.
There's a major conflict there, though, for a lot of people, isn't there?
Absolutely, mate. They see the external world and go, it doesn't sit with me.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse, mate. Instagram, people are looking at Facebook and all the social media going, everyone's portraying perfection. It's horse shit, man.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Absolute garbage.
Well, we've both seen it in the gym.
Yeah.
Classic
mate,
example.
The old people in the gym taking photos of themselves.
Yep.
How ridiculous.
Yep.
Anyway, so Outlier is the opposite. I want to embrace a community. I want to create a community of people. So with the Outliers that we've interviewed, we'll all be part of the community.
Yep.
There's no money to be exchanged. It's just we're all a team, you know, that helps each other out. Sure, we might work with each other in a business sense or whatever, but that doesn't matter.
Yes.
But the community will be like a Facebook group where we all get together. If you've got any issues, you've got anything you want to share, etc., we just help each other.
Yeah.
There's a TV show, there's the community, there's obviously a brand. I'd love to Outlier to be actually like a brand of clothing or something where people buy it because they feel like they're part of the message. There's also the production side. So we obviously create all these shows and interviews and a lot of how-to videos and promotional videos and that. So any business owners out there too who want that for their own business, I believe the difference in what we offer in that regard is engagement and connection through the stories.
Yes.
How many ads do you know that sit for someone for 45 minutes or so talking about their background and history and what their values are and what their business is about?
You never see that.
Never.
No, you never see that. And there's not a lot of focus on the outlier. It's mostly focused on successful people who are up front, like celebs and people like that. But there's so many people behind the scenes doing brilliant things, which your TV shows are going to highlight. That's the great thing about it. And there's no end of that.
Mate,
right?
that celeb bullshit. People famous for being famous.
Yeah. But
they offer no value. But yet some of them are the wealthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long that can last, and I don't follow any of that.
No.
But the great thing is, what I like what you just said there is you're going to give people the opportunity who are going to recognise themselves as being an outlier and say, I would like to be able to develop myself and my brand around that.
100%, mate. So not only, thank God have I found my crew, they'll be saying, these guys resonate with me.
Yeah.
I hope that, I hope they feel that in their heart.
Yeah.
But then not just, that's awesome, I get to hang out with these guys, but they're now going to teach me a process on how to start, grow and automate myself and to be my own brand.
Yes.
Or my own message or my own vision.
Right.
To make a difference to the world. We celebrate difference to make a difference. We don't bring people down for being different. We don't tell them to believe a certain thing, and if they don't, we kill them or ostracize them or whatever.
Yeah.
We're the opposite. We're saying you have power in your uniqueness.
Well, I know some of the people that you've already interviewed are doing extraordinary things, and they're doing things that would be inconceivable to a lot of people, and probably fair to say that particularly with outliers, they know a lot. They hear people saying, it's crazy, bad idea, won't go anywhere. I mean, that's a classic, right?
Oh, mate, everyone I talk to, they get the naysayers.
Yeah.
The naysayer is just someone who's got fear, mate, or they've got doubt or their own insecurities and they're too afraid to do it themselves. But like the bully, they portray that through trying to be powerful and get energy from others by bringing them down.
Yeah, it's just showing their own
as
insecurity,
opposed to
right?
going, you know what, that guy's onto something. I too could do that. But again, that's a self-reflection process, which not a lot of people do.
Right.
But it'd be great if they did and then just took the jump and did it. And, mate, what would you rather do? What would you rather die giving it a shot or going, I never gave it a shot and I was depressed the whole way through life? Because you only get one life, right?
Yeah.
What would you rather do?
Yeah, well, I know what I'd rather do. I'd rather do what I'm doing. I'd rather
and
do
you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know the alternative.
No, and I think, just if you look at the great thing about your logo on your cap there, Andrew, it says it all. There's so many people, the black space within the white ring is where most people are. And then you've got the outlier that sits outside the circle. I think that perfectly describes the type of people that you want to help, right?
100%. So, mate, there's a lot of outliers in the mainstream. They just don't, it's like they're a big bit of rock that hasn't been chiseled yet to realise that they're in there. But I know if they watch this, they will feel it.
Yes.
There will be a part of them that feels what I'm saying, what you're saying, that goes, something in that, and they will shed the rock and become the statue, which is essentially their own self. Do you know what I mean?
I think they can be proud of the fact that they are an outlier, that you actually can help them to identify that part of their identity, that maybe they don't know that. Like for a lot of people, they might be somewhat introverted. They're banging away at whatever they do every day and working hard at it, but they just don't want to be around a lot of people. They don't like the crowds very much, right?
That's why I talk about the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So an entrepreneur is more introverted, but also very clear on their internal values, but they're not externally projecting themselves. But that doesn't matter because the power of the internet, like you could sit in front of a camera as an introvert, but still there'll be some fear of getting out to the world, but there's so many platforms now. You take the footage of yourself, whatever your message is, and you share it. Doesn't mean you have to be with those people.
Right. I mean, I'm classic for that. I've done that
You're
myself.
You're an introvert.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've had millions of views online.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have to be with those people, but you still love being with people. But when you're at choice about being with people.
Absolutely. It's when I feel like being with people. Not very often, but it happens.
Yeah.
But I'm just one kind of person that's out there. In fact, there's a bit of a focus on that now. There's been some books written at recent times about that type of person, that doesn't really want to be around a whole lot of people. But of course, it can be also a more outgoing type of person, right? It can be any type of personality.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
An outlier is a person, place, or thing that's different from the group.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, I believe every one of us is an outlier. We have a unique talent. We may just not know it yet. So just think about that as a concept. If we all feel we have to fit a system that doesn't work for us, and we know it's not working because it ain't working in the world at the moment because there's conflict, there's famine, there's wealth, and the huge indiscrepancies between wealth and poor, etc.
Yes.
And we know that system doesn't work, then by default, that's a feeling to say there must be a better way.
Right.
And an outlier is more likely to take the step to make that change and make that difference.
Andrew, you've talked about your background and how you've got to be where you are today, and you're definitely an outlier based on your description. But what are some of the characteristics of an outlier? What are some of the things that, if someone was an outlier, how would they know that?
Well, mate, I think, I mentioned it earlier, I don't like being told what to do.
Okay.
I hate to work...
So you're a non-conformist?
I hate conformity.
Right, okay.
Absolutely hate it. Right, even at school, I was growing up 16, all the boys, all of my mates would hang out every day. We'd wear the same jacket, we had the same bikes, we did certain things the same way, and I said to the lads, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And I got ostracised for it, but I've always just asked questions. So an outlier's going to ask questions. They're going to look at the world differently. They're going to, I don't know how...
Are they a team player?
Well, I don't know if they are initially, but they'll build great teams.
Yeah.
They'll have a set of values, and then they'll attract people with the same values to do something similar, or those people who are attracted will do similar in their own right.
So will they have the team as sort of like the circle on your logo, but they still sit outside of that? And they might be called leader of that team?
Yeah, call them a visionary or a creator or something. I think, it's not like I'm anti-team.
Right.
I love team sports and I love everything. But I'm always within that team. I'm going to give 100% within my role in that team, if that makes sense. And I always expect the others to do the same, but often if I see that they're not, that shits me as well.
I have the same problem. That's one of my big bugbears in life, and something I'm dealing with at my age, but it's taken me a long time.
Well, and again, I think outliers probably have a high-performance mindset, a growth mindset, an adventure mindset, travel, potentially. I love travel. Like it's newness. Freedom's another one. I love freedom as a value.
Andrew, one of the things I see a lot online, when you're trawling through social media and you see the ads come up about the guy that's on the beach with his laptop on his lap, and there's the waves out there and everything else, and making money online, and there's no doubt that particularly the youngest generation, one of the younger generations, they're really attracted to this idea of that kind of lifestyle, like traveling the world, making a living while you're doing it.
Digital nomads.
Yeah, exactly. And my wife and I, we love to go to Bali, and wherever we go, whatever hotel we stay in, we tend not to stay. We stay 4-star, say. There are lots of people there sitting there with their laptops, and so, mate, let's talk a little bit about that. Are outliers are they those types of people?
Yeah, I think a lot of them would be, mate. They want the freedom, they want the choice. They work when they want to work, but they'll definitely work hard. Yeah. But they don't want to be constrained to an office or a dogma or a system.
Right. So they're not really attracted to that side. Now, when you say work hard, describe working hard. What's working hard mean?
Mate, I think working hard is getting a result. It's not about busting your ass. It's about doing what you need to do to get a result in the most efficient and leverageable way. Yeah. Now, it takes you years to understand that, because we always, in the past, it was just work your ass off, and there's a whole dogma out there around working your ass off and hustle, and go,
Absolutely.
18 hours a day, and that, to me, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's madness. To me, it's about leverage, right? We're sitting in this beautiful golf course here owned by one of the wealthiest people in Indonesia, and he has the same amount of time as everyone else.
That's what he says all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
But he has 60,000 employees or something like that. So he's using time and the time of other people to get a massive, not just this golf course, but a heap of other things for himself. Yeah. Right? So is he busting his ass? He wouldn't say he is, because he loves what he does. That's the other part.
He definitely does.
Yeah. But he works hard. He would work, many hours a day, but it wouldn't feel like work to him. No. So there's a balance, mate. I don't think you've still got to put an effort, but it's not about busting your ass.
Yeah. And as you mentioned right back at the beginning, you talked about when you first started out and you started to expand your gyms and health club concept, and then it got more complicated, and you're dealing with a lot of other issues that you weren't dealing with when you're just on your own. So a lot of people that are outliers, I mean, you can get one person working off their laptop and creating a great business, but it's possible still to create a gigantic business,
100%.
The next big thing, possibly.
The key, mate, it is different for everyone. Everyone has different passions, desires, visions, dreams, goals.
Yeah.
So we're not saying about you've got to do it a certain way. We're saying do whatever you want. You can have infinite amount of properties and businesses or whatever. I choose not to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I don't wake up thinking about that. I think about what I can create that's inspirational that I can share with people. So it's different for everyone.
Yes.
I'd say tune into what's important to you or yourself. What do you value? So write a values list.
Yeah.
And then I also love the whole, what's my preferred mode of delivery? If I was living on purpose with a passion, with this vision of making a difference, whatever that is for them,
Yeah.
I would then say, how do I want to deliver that to the world? Back to my golf, it was, well, I want to have a TV show that showcases all the stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then that allows you to think then about the structure and framework of it.
Yes.
So Roger Hamilton is a good mentor of mine. He has a great formula. It's when you combine your passion with your talent, you provide the most value. When you leverage that value, leverages on and online marketing and systems, etc.,
Right.
you create flow, right? But where does it start? Back at passion.
Yes.
Times talent, and he has a talent profiling tool that you can use. There's 8 profiles.
Right.
So when you combine my passion was golf, my talent is creator,
Yeah.
I go, well, what can I create related to golf,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's a simple formula. Then because I'm so passionate, you instantly will feel my value. Outlier, I'm passionate about inspiring people. I'm a creator, so I've created Outlier, and people hopefully will feel my passion for that.
For sure.
And it provides value. They
Yeah.
want some of that value exchange.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make a difference to them.
It's interesting you say that. The passion side's a big one, but I've seen you when you've been incredibly frustrated, when you're bumping into people that just don't get the message. They don't get it, even though I've heard your message and going, really need to hear this message, but some people just don't hear the message. So how does an outlier deal with that? I mean, you're that guy and you have gone through that, because you said 5 good years, 5 not so good years, right?
The analogy I used for that, Laurie, it was like having a Ferrari, and I'm the Ferrari, and I don't mean that in an arrogant ego way, but I mean a red, fast Ferrari slamming into a brick wall.
Right.
So what that really means is a massive amount of energy and passion coming in and being blocked by incompetence, ignorance, fear, resistant to change.
Does that sound like a normal person that possibly sits within the circle?
100%, mate. But I don't understand that, because I'm the Ferrari going, come on, guys, let's all line up and Ferraris and have a race.
But you do understand it. You do understand that that's most people, right?
Yeah.
But that's not an outlier.
No.
That is the people that want that security and safety of their job and getting their paycheck every fortnight or whenever.
And mate, they're entitled to that.
Absolutely.
100%. But going back to Outlier,
Yeah.
I want to work with outliers because we will have the best time, we'll have the best flow, we'll have amazing adventures, travels, everything.
Yeah.
And I can feel the inspiration just thinking about it. We will be in heaven.
Yeah.
You know?
So one last thing on this, because I think it's important. We both sat in on seminars where you've got a seminar leader, and the seminar leader is passionate, like you, about what they do.
Yeah.
And you've got all these people that want to be passionate, but maybe they're not all passionate.
Yeah.
Maybe the ones down the front are putting their hands up all the time, and they've got it, but most people don't get it.
Yeah.
How will you deal with that, you know?
Well, it's a good point, mate. How I deal with it is I tune in, and I've actually got a tool I can share with people where it helps them tune in to what they're passionate about.
Great.
Because they're effectively in their head, right? Passion's a heart-based thing. They just need to tune into their heart, and which is in their body, and it will start to talk to them.
Right.
But,
Knowing how to do that, right?
How do I do it? Well, I tune in.
All right.
Through meditation, through certain modalities of, how would I say it? Spiritual modalities or physical modalities that allow me to get in tune with my subconscious.
Okay.
right? I see other people to help me with that too, so I can get out of my head. Often if we do it on ourselves, we're in our own head still, trying to control it.
Yeah.
And meditation is different for everyone. It could be surfing, it could be guitar, it could be singing. It's whatever you do where you feel like time stands still and all of a sudden you're listening to the inner voice that's going on and you're feeling amazing.
Now, do beliefs block that? You know, like a person's set of beliefs, the belief structures that they have that they're running every day, the patterns every day.
Well, 100%, mate. Let's look at, I won't go there, but let's look at religion. How much does religion block people on possibilities?
Well, they don't even know, right? In a lot of cases, they don't even know.
But they're running a subconscious belief around something they've been instilled at a young age, right?
Right.
Usually between the ages of 0 to 7.
Yep.
That's running them.
Yep.
So all we do is go back to that age with certain techniques and tune into that, see what it is. Mate, there's a lot of lost energy still back in that part of their life.
Right, there is,
that's running their life.
Yes.
Traumatic events, things their parents said primarily, or people of influence, that are actually running their life now.
Yeah.
Just crazy, right?
So true, absolutely.
So if we can go back, clear that emotional charge, free it for the present moment, now all of a sudden they've got that energy available in the present to do what they'd rather be doing, or at least be tuning into what they'd rather be doing.
Now a lot of people, you know, they want change, some level of change, Andrew, right? They maybe want to be an outlier type. Maybe they've got a feeling that they could be. But change is difficult, right? That's what people are told all the time. But is change difficult? You know, you're talking about this now, and you mentioned before hard work. You have to work hard. But if you've got passion, it doesn't feel like hard work. So how does someone that is, you know, frightened to take the step, what should they do?
Well, key is mentors, mate, for starters, hence why we put together this series.
Yes.
Realise you were frightened at some point. I've been frightened.
Many times.
We're all humans, right? It's not like we're some super freaky people who don't feel emotions.
Yeah.
But the reality is fear's an emotion, and it's an illusionary emotion. Fear will come up to stop us feeling another feeling, which is another conversation in itself.
Right. Yeah, so it hijacks it.
Yeah, so if we can work out the actual feeling it's trying to stop us feeling, e.g. I'm not good enough, I don't want to go back. If I do that, it'll bring me up that stuff I've had to go back with in time was traumatic or whatever. If they can tune into the feeling they don't want to feel and feel it usually takes 15-30 seconds, it clears it, and then the opposite feelings usually come up, right?
Yep.
So change to me is not hard. If people think change is hard, it's a belief.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yep.
And then it's just a process, right? Get clear on what you want, see it in your mind with absolute clarity, feel it in your body with absolute certainty. And then the more and more we can do that, e.g. we start to resonate it with what we want energetically, it starts to show up in our external world. Okay? But you have to take responsibility that you are the creator of your own environment or your own reality. That's the first step. You then have to commit to the process, and the fastest way to attract it is to, as I said, see it in your mind with absolute clarity, feel it in your body with absolute certainty. So that's like a visualization process, a design process, but then the feelings that come with it. So I might say to you, Laurie, why do you want to be a golf coach? It's not that you want to be a golf coach, it's the feelings being a golf coach will give you.
Right, absolutely.
So if we get clarity on those feelings we want to feel and feel them more often, all of a sudden, Laurie's a golf coach.
Yeah, absolutely. You move closer towards it. Absolutely.
So is change hard? I don't think so. Is it a process? 100%. Can it be taught? 100%.
Yeah, good. So essentially, Outlier is going to do those things. It's going to help people who may have the feeling already that they're that type of person, that they don't always fit in and they don't always conform and they don't really like the idea of super, you know, like a structure to the way it is, you know, in everyday life. And so what you're going to be able to do for them is help them to develop that into something real, something concrete, something that can take them from passion to pension. I heard you say one time, and I thought that was just so beautifully said.
Well, it's not just me, mate, it's you. It's all the other outliers and, you know, the services they offer. And for me, it's a platform, it's a message, and it's a community.
Fantastic.
And the delivery modes of that don't matter at this point in time, other than letting the viewers know they will be there and they are there to support those people.
Right.
So that's the most important thing for me. As long as, again, we go back to celebrating difference to make a difference through ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Right?
Yeah.
And that's all we want for everyone else, is for you to do ordinary things, or as an ordinary person do extraordinary things, which ultimately will make a difference to yourself and to others.
So Andrew, I mean, it's been quite enlightening for me to talk to you about, you know, and your passion, where you've come from to where you are now. You got any last thoughts on on this?
Yeah,
where we're going
I have, mate. It's something I was taught by my brother, who couldn't do anything, mentally, physically, nothing.
Yeah.
But we've been given a life. We've been given all the passion, all the talents, all the skills, all of the physical ability to do anything we want on this planet. So I believe that we all deserve and owe it to ourselves to go out there and be the best person we can be with those skills, passions, talents, etc. we've been given to make a difference in this world. So that would be my final message.
That's fantastic. Andrew, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I mean, I've learned an enormous amount. I'm very excited about Outlier, and I really believe this is the time for this type of program to be seen and heard and experienced by a lot of people. So thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been great.
Thanks, Laurie. Thanks for getting it out of me.
Pleasure.
Well, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this inspiring Outlier episode with myself. For more videos, resources and information, go to outlier.tv or click on our social media pages below. I'm Andrew McCombe, and here's to living the Outlier life outside of the comfort zone. I'll see you soon.